So here's the problem that I have. It's not that I didn't get on the show. It was that you are being fed the wrong information, information that is just made up. You're not going to get results. So then you're going to have a failure. So that's going to stack up. So you want to make sure that your information that you get is based on truth, not hype.
That is just throwing out all the BS information. It's all fake. This whole thing is fake. Hey there, some of my subs requested me to actually take a look at this video because they've seen some information and they told me about it. And of course, I disagreed with it. Therefore, I decided to make a video and actually explain what is wrong and how wrong it is, okay? So if you are an Eric Berg fan, well, I'm sorry, okay? But I'm not doing this video to mock Dr. Eric Berg or, his team or so on. But being someone with 6.3 million subscribers on YouTube, and the video he published has already more than 500,000 viewers with more than 17k likes, you would expect this person to do proper research. You would expect this person to have enough resources to actually do legitimate studies and investigate the situation or educate themselves properly to a point where they would be providing you with real, legit, and factful information. But unfortunately, in this video, he did not. And I've read his comments, like a lot of people unfortunately believe this, and this is also one of the reasons why I'm making this video. So again, I'm sorry, but what you're going to be watching here is, especially if you're a Dr. Eric Berg fan, is not going to be pleasing to you, because you are going to see that how wrong he is, particularly on this video. I'm not sure about his other videos. I haven't watched every single video he has, okay? But I'm not the enemy here. So if you want to blame someone, I am not the one to blame here. I'm just pointing out the facts, okay? So please keep an open mind, watch the video properly. If you still have any kind of constructive criticism about me or about the information that I'm sharing, please feel free to comment. I understand that Dr. Eric Berg is big on keto and intermittent fasting and stuff like that, and I'm not against any of it. Actually, I have a body transformation that I've done in 6 months on keto and intermittent fasting myself. So I'm not against keto, I'm not against intermittent fasting or anything. I'm just against misinformation or misleading information that would harm people rather than help them. So I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm not taking away anything, because based on the comments, like, he has also helped a lot of people, which is, I think, amazing and it's great. So congratulations on that. But I'm just pointing out, as I said, the mistakes that were made in this video, and I hope you make this video reach to him so that he takes it down or he corrects the information that he's providing here, because he is a person currently with such a massive audience and it's such a caliber. I mean, like 6.3 million subs is nothing to be joked around. So that's also one of the reasons why I think it's kind of ridiculous that he uses this kind of information, like, off of internet, and like promotes certain stuff, certain exercises or so on. Exercising is good, obviously, but like providing misinformation is wrong, okay? Whether it's about something healthy or not, all right? So I'm gonna be watching this at 1.5 speed because he speaks like really slow, okay? So let's go.
Let's talk about the best HIIT, high intensity interval training exercises for maximum fat burning, okay? Now I'm gonna give you examples of lots of high intensity interval training exercises that you can do, and then I'm gonna tell you the #1 exercise that just blows everything else away. But first, let me just explain what HIIT exercises are. It's a super high intensity, short duration type exercise that produces some seriously high growth hormone spike and other benefits. And the cool thing about it is, because you're using this high intensity, short duration exercise, you're not gonna be doing a tremendous amount of it. So it's a quicker workout, which takes less time for those busy people. But let's just kind of like dissect what exercise really is. You have 4 parts. Okay, you have the duration or time, you have the intensity of the exercise, and then you have the recovery after the exercise, And then you also have how many times you do this specific exercise, how long you do it, how long do you rest, and then how many repetitions of that are you going to do. So typically when you're doing HIIT or high intensity interval training, you're doing it only for like 30 to 60 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. And then you're resting between 30 seconds or usually like a minute to 5 minutes. And then you're doing this 3 times to 7 times. And then as far as per week, you might do it, I don't know, once or twice or 3 times per week. That's
Okay, so I have to interrupt here because I don't think Dr. Eric Berg really does a lot of HIIT exercises himself. When it comes to HIIT, first of all, you don't have to be in this structured pattern that he's giving out here, which is like 30 to 60 seconds of actual working and then rest of 1 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be like that to be considered HIIT. High intensity interval training, so you basically go for a performance increase, a very high interval, and then you go down, okay? So just like he's showing on the graph here. But it doesn't have to be 30 to 60 seconds. You can also do 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and you can rest for however minutes you want to rest. You can rest for 30 seconds if that is what you like, all right? And also, I mean, he said that it's more time efficient. Well, how is HIIT more time efficient? By the way, don't mistake me. I actually like HIIT and I prefer HIIT whenever I can. But when you look at what he's giving here, if you're doing 1 minute and let's say you're resting for 5 minutes, that makes it 6 minutes in total per set. And you're doing it 7 times. So that's 42 minutes. So 42 minutes spent doing HIIT. How is that time efficient? Like how many people do cardio for like 42 minutes? And in terms of like doing it how many times per week, when you do it 1 time a week, like, I mean, you're not really going to get any benefit now, will you? So, and also it depends on your recovery and so on. So it depends on the individual. If you want to do it like every single day, go ahead and do it. So I think that's also another mistake. He's like giving out like you have to do it 1, 2, 3. Why? What happens when you do it 4 times? Nothing. Okay, you can do 4 times, 5 times.
kind of like a pattern. Now, if we take a look at why high intensity interval training works, we want to look at these variables a little bit deeper. Intensity is the key factor in exercise that stimulates muscle growth and also stimulates growth hormone. Okay. Now, if we have a low intensity and high duration, a long period of time of exercise. So let's say you're just jogging down the street over a long period of time. It's not very intense, but you're just jogging for like 45 minutes. You will not stimulate growth hormone near as strong as compared if you do
I don't understand what is this obsession with growth hormone. Growth hormone is not gonna make or break your fat loss journey. So just because you spiked your growth hormone for like a few minutes doesn't mean that you're gonna start like turning into a fat burning machine. All right. So if that were the case, the people who has the highest growth hormone, which is like children and like children at like puberty, teenagers, you would never see a fat teenager ever because their growth hormone is spiked beyond any adult's growth hormone that will ever achieve. All right. Because your growth hormone, it increases until you're an actual adult. You completed your growth and then it starts to come down. And just because you're spiking it like for 1 minute or 10 minutes per day by doing HIIT exercise doesn't mean that you're going to start growing or like you're actually going to get like a lot of benefits from having this like little bit of spiked growth hormone. All right. So I don't know why his obsession is or what his angle is here, but like it's not growth hormone. It's working because you're spending energy. You're doing something. That's why it's working, not because it's spiking your growth hormone.
Short duration, high intensity type workout. Now, the other key thing about this is this recovery part too, because if you don't recover from this intensity, you're not going to see the results nearly as strong as if you did take in consideration the recovery. Now,
I honestly have no clue what he's talking about here. So the difference would be between proper recovering and not properly recovering is that next time you go 100% at it, right? Because you haven't recovered, even your 100% is not going to be able to get to the levels as your previous set. Does that make any sense? So for example, think about yourself. Let's say you're sprinting, right? So the first time you sprint it and then let's say you sprint it for like 10 yards in I don't know, 1 minute, okay? Just an example. The next time, if you haven't recovered enough, in 1 minute, maybe you're not going to be able to complete the same amount of distance, which means you burnt less calories, okay? So the way he's conceptualizing it here is wrong.
Recovery is an individual thing. Each person has a different ability to recover. And there's a really good test that I'm going to recommend.
Okay, so he's correct about that. It depends on from person to person. I might need 5 minutes to recover from a certain type of exercise, and from that very same exercise, you might need 2 minutes only, okay? So it depends from person to person, and he's correct about this information.
That you do to determine your recovery as one of the cautions, because the last thing you want to do is overtrain yourself and end up hurting yourself. You know, you don't want to do this if you have injuries because it's high intensity. You also don't want to do it if you have poor recovery, and I'm going to show you a good test to figure that out. And you don't want to do it if you have heart problems, because doing this intensity exercise without supervision when you have a heart problem could be an issue. So this is what you'd want to do.
Okay, so about his cautions here. Overtraining. So most people do not even train properly. So overtraining will not be an issue for 99% of the people who actually go and do what he's recommending here, all right? And in terms of injuries, if you have an injury, you're not going to be able to do the exercise properly anyway. So if you have an injury on your leg, you're not going to be able to sprint. Or if you have an injury on your arm, you're not going to be able to do kettlebells, okay? So obviously, I mean, if you have an injury, try to do something that doesn't bother that injury, particular injury. Or if it is something that's affecting your whole entire body, then just wait until your injury gets better. Poor recovery. If you have poor recovery, go and do some exercise so that you can improve your cardiovascular health and your overall health in general, okay? So if you have poor recovery, go ahead, do the exercise. And you can even do HIIT if that is what you like. Because what matters in the end is, do you like actually performing this particular exercise? Because the more you like it, the more you're going to be willing to do it, and the more you're going to improve yourself and your overall health, okay? Even if for like 5 seconds, even if it is for like 10 seconds, the more you do it, the better your recovery is going to get. And eventually you're going to build up on top of that foundation that you had in the beginning. And as for heart problems, HIIT has actually, there have been a lot of studies that show that HIIT doesn't actually cause like any kind of big heart issues, okay? So unlike what most people think, just because you are doing an HIIT exercise doesn't mean that you're suddenly gonna have a cardiac arrest, okay? So, or you're not gonna have a stroke just because you had a HIIT exercise. Although, of course, I'm not a doctor, so you should consult with your doctor before, like, if you have like actual serious heart conditions, okay? But normally, it is recommended that you start doing some exercise, all right? So that you can improve your condition, and hopefully it's gonna get better.
You want to first check your resting pulse rate, okay? You can get a pulse meter by checking your pulse on your fingertip. You can also just check your pulse here or here, and you're going to count how many beats per minute, okay? Or you can count it for 15 seconds and then multiply it times 4. Now, normally, an average pulse rate is about 72. If your pulse rate is like high, like 90...
An average heart rate isn't 72. I don't know where he's getting this number from. Like, no, just no. Okay, the heart rate average is like between 50 to like 100 or something, okay? There is no average heart rate of 72. It's
100, higher than that. Then you need to check that out, because that's not normal in a resting pulse rate.
No. As I said, average heart rate can be between 50 to 100, okay? That is usually what is considered a normal heart rate. So if your heart is like 80, that is considered normal. Now, it is not the most optimal, healthiest heart rate, but it is not considered that you're at some kind of a risk, okay? I don't know.
If it's low, that's much better. But it really depends, because if you don't work out and it's really, really low, that could be a heart problem. But if you do exercise and you're somewhat fit, the pulse rate should be like less than 72. It should be like in the 60s. And some people, they're very fit, even comes down to the 50s or even the 40s. And that.
Okay, so he's right about part of the information here. He's very right about, like, if you're especially exercising and you have a low heart rate, that means that your heart is strong and it is very healthy. Okay, so that's a very good thing. And most people actually don't really understand this concept, unfortunately. So I think he's given a good information here, telling that the lower your heart rate, especially if you're an exercising person, is better. So let's say two people exercise, the one with the lower heart rate has a stronger heart than the other one. Okay, so that's a good information he's given here. But the problem, again, he's talking about like it has to be less than 72. No, it's absolutely not true.
It's a healthy heart. All right, so this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna exercise for 1 minute, and you're gonna do it really intense, like about 80% of your maximum intensity. And so just use judgment on this. I don't want to get too complicated. Just go really hard, okay, for 1 minute. And then check your pulse rate at the end of that 1 minute exercise. So let's say it was 160, okay? You got your pulse rate up to 160. Then you're going to rest for 1 minute, okay? Then you're going to check your pulse rate again. And let's say it's 150, all right? You're going to subtract these two numbers. This happens to be 10, okay? And then you can use this little chart right here. If your pulse rate only comes down 12 beats or less, okay, that's bad. That means you're at a higher risk of having a heart problem. Now, I had this lady come into my office, and we did this test.
So what he's giving out here, again, with these numbers, I don't understand why he likes, I don't know, maybe it's his style, like he gives like concrete numbers, because the things he's talking about here is a very individual thing, okay? Like, you cannot take this and like apply it to a person who is 20 years old versus a person who is like 60 years old, okay? Like completely different stuff. I don't know, maybe his audience is at a very certain age, I'm not sure. So but I find this very strange, to be honest. Like, I think like he's talking about like very health related issues here as if like they're concrete information, but they're not. So let's see what his story is about.
And her pulse rate got up to 150, okay? And then for some reason, I didn't really check after resting. I think we forgot about her or something, and she went home. Well, the next day she came in, I checked her pulse rate again. Guess what it was? 150. That's really bad. So her pulse rate did not even change after 24 hours, okay?
Did I hear this right? Hold on, I need to listen to this again.
Resting. I think we forgot about her or something, and she went home. Problem. Now, I had this lady come into my office, and we did this test, and her pulse rate got up to 150, okay? And then for some reason, I didn't really check after resting. I think we forgot about her or something, and she went home. Well, the next day she came in, I checked her pulse rate again. Guess what it was? 150.
What is this?
That's really bad. So her pulse rate.
That's really bad.
It did not even change after 24 hours.
Okay, cool story, bro. Oh, wait, what? So, I don't know. So, I don't want to say anything, but I don't know. Just think about it, okay? So, let's say you bumped your heart rate up to 150. 150 is like boom, 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 like really, really fast, like very intense workout heart rate. And it stayed there for 24 hours. And it didn't change at all, and you're still alive, and he doesn't suggest that you have to go to a hospital like immediately and doesn't call an ambulance. So I don't know, like, and also she didn't have like a stroke, she didn't have a cardiac arrest, heart failure, nothing, right? So whoa. Some story that is. All right, interesting.
Okay, that means she has no recovery, and I've only seen that
no recovery. Imagine
that situation another time where this guy who was in the special forces, he was in some exercise, he had jumped from a plane using a parachute, and somehow he landed in the trees and crushed his back, and he got captured for 2 weeks and tortured, and some.
So what is funny about like getting captured and being tortured? Like, he's laughing.
And somehow he landed in the trees and crushed his back, and he got captured for 2 weeks and tortured, and somehow he's.
How is this funny? I don't understand. Is he laughing at the story that they made up so that he can say in this video? Like, I'm not sure, but like it's not funny getting captured and like tortured for 2 weeks. So I don't know what he finds. Like, maybe he has a different kind of sense of humor.
Survived that trauma. And before that, guess what he did for a living? He was
Guess what he did?
a rodeo clown.
So he was a rodeo clown before getting captured by terrorists. Okay.
And so he just had a series of traumas. Well, when I checked his recovery, there was absolutely zero recovery. And he had very, very high blood pressure and a lot of problems. We did help him eventually. And that just gives you another example of poor recovery.
So he had a lot of PTSD from being a rodeo clown, I think. He was like having nightmares, seeing bulls around, I guess. Because that's the part he's not laughing at the story. So, I don't know. I think that was like the scary part. The so-called individual here, his patient, was having issues with. I'm not sure. So, and he had no recovery. I don't understand. Like, I would expect a rodeo clown to be in very good shape, to be able to outrun the bulls. Like, when you think about it, right? Like, I mean, this person literally has to be in very good shape. You don't see, like, obese clowns, like, you know, trying to be rodeo clowns.
Now, if this top number and bottom number come out to be 13 to 20, okay?
It's just too much for me. So I was skipping the video, but now he said he has another story. So I'm really curious what this story is.
Real quick, I have to tell you, this is fascinating. This guy, he was 80-something years old, okay?
I'm really curious what can be more fascinating than the previous two stories he told.
I noticed his pulse rate, I think it was like 160, came all the way down to his resting pulse rate. And he was in his 80s. So I was very, very impressed. I was like blown away that it came down that much. And come to find out, he won the Olympics when he was younger in water polo. And water polo is probably the toughest sport, the most demanding on your cardiovascular system and
So
your endurance out of any of the sports. And he apparently took first place in the Olympics. And he maintained his physical fitness through this whole period of time. He can hold his breath easily 3 minutes underneath the water. So anyway, he had really good recovery. All right.
So in his 20s, so like 50 plus years ago or 60 years ago, he was very good at, you know, whatever he was doing, like water polo, and he won the Olympics. And his heart is still as strong. I mean, he has better recovery than myself, and I'm 35, so.
I just want to show you one last thing, and we'll go right to the exercises. When you start an exercise...
Okay, so I have to skip this. Like, I cannot. What happens when you do HIIT? Let's go to this.
Whether you're hopping on a platform or you're doing some type of explosive motion, okay? I have some old videos of me jumping on a stump back and forth, but that's plyometrics, a really good type of HIIT.
So he put these HIIT exercises in an order. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going on. So this is actual order, like the exercises. He's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he thinks sit-ups is a better exercise than mountain climbers for fat burning.
Exercise. Jumping rope is another good example of a HIIT exercise. Burpees, another good one. Doing kickboxing. But with kickboxing, you have to make sure that you rest in between because sometimes they'll push you to the point where there's no recovery. But with kickboxing, you can actually have some explosive movements. A spin bike, that's another great workout where you can actually do a very short burst of intense exercise using your legs. It's going to get your lungs and your heart, and then you would rest. Kettlebell is another one. The Bulgarian bag, which I'm actually doing right now, which I love, it's like a sandbag that you're doing these different motions and you're whipping them over your body. And you talk about full body intensity. Well, you can't do this for more than a minute, and you have to rest.
Why? I can. A lot of people can actually, and also it depends on what the weight of the bag is, right? So if you're taking like a 10-pound bag versus 20-pound bag, like there's a massive difference in terms of how much or how long you can actually perform the exercise properly. So I don't know, like he has a different style, I think.
CrossFit is pretty intense. The problem that I see with CrossFit is that it's really good if you're younger, but as soon as you get older, you better make sure that you recover a lot longer because you need a short burst of high intensity with good recovery, and you have to make sure that you don't.
So there's burpees and there's CrossFit. So he's talking about like how you need to be like at a certain age. I mean, like
have injuries because it can be very traumatic. Okay, number 10, cross-country skiing. Now I'm talking about those machines that you're simulating cross-country skiing, and you can create some serious intensity. In fact, you can burn a tremendous amount of calories with cross-country skiing. Push-ups and sit-ups, you don't really even need any equipment. You can do it without that, using your own body weight. Jumping jacks is another one. Mountain climber exercise is another one. It's pretty intense. And all of these are great. But the number one high-intensity interval training exercise is sprinting. Okay. They call it sprinting interval training, okay? SIT. In a meta-analysis of over 70 studies, they found that sprinting produced the most fat burning and the least amount of time doing it, which is very, very cool. So when they compared sprint interval training, which is really as a subtype of high intensity interval training, and they compare these two, there was 39.95% higher reduction of fat, overall body fat, and using a little more than 60% less time. So you're spending less time burning more fat if you compare sit exercises to HIIT exercises. Now, when they compared sprint interval training to MICT, which stands for moderate intensity continuous training, which is not quite as intense and it's longer, there was over a 91% higher reduction of body fat using 71% less time. So that's really cool. So let me explain a little bit more about how to do this, okay?
Okay, so he is so wrong here to a point where I'm not even laughing anymore. Okay, so he's saying that sprinting is so superior of an exercise that you burn 91% more fat and in 71% less time compared to moderate intensity continuous training. Can you guys, like, watching this, please try to understand, okay? He's saying sprint interval training, running, basically, okay, with intervals, is so good that you burn almost 2 times more fat than regular exercise in half the time. Any logical person who exercises or who actually spent a little bit of time understanding exercise science will know that this is absolute BS. It is unbelievable to me how he's able to say this with a straight face here and making a video. It is really, really crazy. I mean,
it's slightly different. You're doing an all-out 100% effort. You're going as hard and as fast as you can using your whole body, okay? That's number one. You're not using like 80% of maximum intensity. You're just flat out going as fast as you can. Next thing is you're using very short duration. You're gonna find that if you're gonna sprint, you can't go very, very far, okay? Because you're doing this anaerobically without oxygen in your cells, and you're gonna run out of oxygen really fast. But it's a great, great workout, not just for fat burning, but overall health. I mean, if you think about like a 100-yard dash, right? These guys are sprinting 100 yards, and a really good time would be like 12, 11, 10 seconds. I think the world record was like 9 point something seconds. I mean, that is a very, very short workout, right? Well, what I'm talking about is doing a sprint for like 30 seconds up to 60 seconds. Now, for what I'm talking about with the sprinting, I'm talking about maybe you start out with 15-second sprints, okay? Working your way up to 30-second sprints, and maybe eventually up to 60-second sprints. But most people won't get up to 60. They'll stay at 30-second sprints. So that's a very short workout, right? So it's a shorter workout, but your rest has to be longer. You want to rest between 2 and 4 minutes with a full rest. You don't want to jog in place. You want to sit down, let your pulse rate come all the way down to normal. So this is your workout, okay, if you're going to do sprinting. Maybe you find a place where there's a park, nice soft grass, you have your tennis shoes on and you can sprint. You start out doing your 15-second sprints, okay? And you're going to do 4 to 6 of those, okay? Maybe you start just with 4 of those. And then you're going to rest for between 2 and 4 minutes until you can check your pulse rate until you're really calm. And then you would do it again back and forth for about 4 to eventually 6 sprints in a given workout. And you would only do that twice a week. That would produce way more fat burning than any of these right here. I'll put the link down
complete nonsense.
Below the research. All right, and last.
So, let's see where he got his so-called research to get these data, okay? And this is Dr. Eric Berg, okay? So, the link here, this website. Okay, so let's go and check this website. All right, here we go. Let's look at this website. The website is called run, repeat. What do you think the website is about? Take a guess. Let's check their homepage. This is the homepage of a website that you're taking #1 HIIT exercise studies from. Does it look like a website that does studies or that sells shoes? And in particular, running shoes. So let's click on one of those and see what happens. Oh, it directs you here where you can buy their best shoes. And what happens when we click this? And here you go, you're on Amazon and you can add and buy from here. And the way they built this website is that they are basically using affiliate marketing. So when you click on this, it brings you to this link. And when you make a purchase, this website here makes money. This run repeat website, they make commission from this. So their whole website, the whole thing about this website is that it's a very well made affiliate marketing website that is just throwing out all the BS information. It's all fake. This whole thing is fake. And I'm going to show you how it is fake. Okay. So look at this. So Dr. Eric Berg, DC, literally took everything on that video that you just saw from here. Look at this. He took everything from here. He didn't study a single thing himself. He didn't do a single research himself. He just saw this and he copy pasted everything and he put it on a graph as if like he came up with this idea. Okay. And everything you see, the protocols, everything you see here is coming from this website. And then it ends with great training shoes. Oh, who could have guessed? Yeah. And look at this now. Works cited. 75 works cited. A fake website here is saying they are citing 75 works. Now look at the works they're doing. Sprint exercise snacks, a novel approach to increase aerobic fitness. So what they did here, this website, I will explain to you the whole business model. I checked all the researches. Don't worry. I'm going to show you more. And I will show you actually the ones that show the difference between SIT, HIIT, or MICT. Okay. So this website's whole thing here is giving you fake information. And by making it look so professional, the people who come to this website do not judge anything they see. They're like, oh my God, this is real. And because they put it in a so good manner, most people who come to this website stay longer. The more they stay, the more information Google or any other search engine gets from that. The people who visit this website actually enjoy this website and stay here for long. So they start to rank them higher and higher on certain keywords. So when you go to Google or any other search engine, okay, whether it's Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever you use, you type in sprint versus HIIT, maybe this website is gonna come as like one of the top websites. And they write these like work cited and stuff. Google doesn't go and check, or any search engine doesn't go and check every single thing that is here. But it assumes that these guys have actually made something like this article, the whole thing, based on these researches. So it gives it more authority even than before. And they just put like all the random articles and all the random studies that they found that has the keyword sprint or interval in it. Okay, without even looking at anything. And they made this website look so professional so that you can be lied to easier. It's a scam. The whole thing is a scam, okay? So let's look at the actual researches. All right, let's see what the research says. A systematic review and meta-analysis of interval training versus moderate intensity continuous training, okay, on by the adiposity. Adiposity is like basically body fat, okay? So look at this conclusion they've come to. HIIT, sit appears to provide similar benefits to MICT for body fat reduction, although not necessarily in a more time-efficient manner. So everything Dr. Eric Berg just told you about went down the drain based on this study, right? Okay, so let's see more. I mean, like, you cannot just base your opinion on one website or one study, right? I mean, like, Dr. Berg does, but we don't, right? So let's check others. So, another study here comparing energy compensation after sprint and high-intensity interval training. So they're actually comparing energy compensation after sprint versus high-intensity interval training, okay? So look at the results. Very large individual differences in energy compensation were noted. Obviously, just as I said, everyone is different, okay? In comparison to individuals with low levels of compensation, which means the people who ate less food to compensate for the energy they spent doing exercise, individuals with high levels of energy compensation, which means the people who ate more food, gained fat mass, lost fat-free mass, they lost muscle and actual tissue. So what does it mean? It means calories in, calories out. It doesn't matter. You're doing HIIT, sit, PIT, whatever numbers you want to put it or whatever letters you want to put it. It doesn't matter, okay? If you're eating more than you're spending, you're going to gain weight. Whether you're on keto, whether you're intermittent fasting, whether you're paleo, vegetarian, none of it matters when it comes to losing weight or gaining weight, okay? Now let's look at this. Comparing time efficiency of sprint versus high-intensity interval training in reducing abdominal visceral fat in obese young women. So to be able to understand this article, I'm going to show you what they're talking about, which part of fat it is. So you see this is the visceral fat, okay? So this is the visceral fat we are talking about. Visceral fat here is abdominal visceral fat. Okay, here we go. So look at the reduction. So the first one is from sit. Okay, the first numbers will be from sit. And this is the reduction because it's minus, right? So the reduction in average visceral fat in sit was minus 6.3 square centimeters. Okay, and for HIIT, it was minus 9.7 square centimeters, which means it was more. So they reduced more fat by doing HIIT exercise compared to sit. And look at this one. And this is the subcutaneous fat, okay? So ASFA, abdominal subcutaneous fat, the reduction of this. Look at this one, the difference. Look how massive this difference is. On sit, they're losing 17.4 square centimeters, and on HIIT, they're losing 40 square centimeters. And the others are like very close still, like some of them HIIT is higher, some of them sit is higher, but it is like very minimal difference. You see like there is no difference here. There is like barely any. I mean, still, of course, HIIT is superior here. Total fat mass, superior, same. And here, let's look at the findings. Such findings suggest that low training load and exercise and commitments of sit regime could optimize the time efficiency advantage of the traditional HIIT. So there is no concrete conclusion. There is no how much fat you 91%. There is no 70% time efficiency. There is none of this, okay? Because what Dr. Eric Berg is telling you on this video and that research, the website on this run repeat website, fake website, that is all bullshit, okay? Now let's look at another study. Effects of sprint versus high intensity aerobic interval training, okay? Now look at what they found on there. Magnitude-based inferences showed HIIT to be likely greater benefit, 83.5% greater benefit compared to sit, and also 0.8% less chance of getting injured compared to sit. Conclusion: the results of the current study suggest that 6 weeks of either HIIT or sit may be effective at increasing mountain trail biking race performance. However, HIIT may be a preferable strategy. Well, with 80%, yes, it may be, right? But as you see, even these papers, they don't put things in concrete. These are actual research, like scientists actually doing like this stuff, okay? Unlike, Dr. Eric Berg himself, who is like just copy-pasting information from random websites that he doesn't even bother to do due diligence about, okay? Now look at this one. This is something that I found myself, okay? And it wasn't like cited there. So what they did is that they took 22 articles. Basically, they took 22 articles with 620 participants, okay? Now look at what they found. And this is comparison of HIIT versus MICT, okay? This is even like better, like something we are looking for. The results show that there were no significant differences between HIIT and MICT in reducing fat percentage, BMI, and weight. No significant difference, okay? So Dr. Eric Berg here, he's giving you all this nonsense information as if he actually knows what he's talking about, as if he has done proper research on the topic, and as if the studies that he found are legitimate studies that he's even saying in his video, you can go and check the study. Well, I did, and guess what, Dr. Eric Berg?
So here's the problem that I have. It's not that I didn't get on the show. It was that you are being fed the wrong information that is just made up. You're not going to get results. So then you're going to have a failure. So that's going to stack up. So you want to make sure that your information that you get is based on truth, not hype.
So, Dr. Eric Berg, here is my problem. You are giving wrong information based on hype and not actual evidence or researches. So just as you said in your video in 2015 when Dr. Oz made the same thing to you. So I hope somehow you watch this and take down your own video or correct it. And really, I mean, for someone of his caliber, of this level of influence that he has, and this many people that he can reach out, it just boggles my mind. Like, I don't understand, does he not care at all about his audience? Like, how can you not go and actually make research on some information? And he's giving you like very concrete stuff, yeah? Like blueprint, literally. He's like, go do this. Like, this is not how it works, okay? And this is not proper advice of fitness. Fitness advice cannot be concrete, okay? It cannot be like a certain exact pattern. No, it doesn't work like that in fitness, all right? It's something very different. And also consider, even like my audience, even though I have a very small audience, a big variety of range in my audience, right? So when I'm giving information, it is my duty, my responsibility to give people proper information, because I don't know who's gonna watch this. So I find this extremely wrong and bizarre, like really. It's just, I do not understand how he doesn't check, how he doesn't even understand. Like, just when you think about it logically, how can sprinting burn 2 times more fat in less time, half the time? Does that make any sense? Any sense at all? Like, when you think about it, just stop, forget about everything, forget about Dr. Eric Berg, forget about me, just sit here, think about it. So you're jogging at continuous speed for, like, let's say 20 minutes, and here you are sprinting for 10 minutes, and you burn 40 minutes of fat that you would otherwise do with jogging. How does that make any sense? Like, you don't have to be an expert in health. You don't have to be a fitness expert. Just when you stop and think about it, you should conclude that, okay, this just doesn't make sense, right? So, I don't know what he is doing, what his team is doing. Like, I'm sorry, I cannot understand. And as I said earlier, If he helped you, great, but I'm sorry, I just have to point out this kind of stuff. Because my subs are watching this and they believe this. And it's, as I said, I think it's his also duty and responsibility, but obviously, I mean, he doesn't really worry about it too much, but I do. So that's why I'm making this video. Alright, so just because someone has 6.3 million subs and with a video of 500,000 views doesn't mean that they are providing you real, factful information. And you come to a channel like mine where one video I make gets 100 views, but I'm actually giving you the real information. So that's the difference, okay, from person to person. And I tell you that I'm always honest, 100% transparent with everything I do. So hopefully, I'm sure some of your friends or some of your family members have seen maybe Dr. Eric Berg's video as well. So please make sure that you share this video now so that they understand what they are actually watching on this channel. All right? Please share this so that more people can see what this is. Okay? Because this is just what is not normal. This is not normal. What he's doing is not normal. Like, you shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. So I hope he watches, or like I hope some other bigger channel watches my video and they also make videos. Maybe then he's gonna notice, because I don't think he's gonna be watching my video, to be honest. So hopefully some bigger channel will take notice on this and provide the proper information to people. All right. So thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and love you guys. Don't worry, as long as you have me, you will get the best information. And thanks a lot for watching again, and I will see you guys on the next one. So, how to do HIIT properly? Well, unlike what Eric Berg is talking about here, so when you want to do HIIT exercise, first of all, find an exercise that you would actually enjoy and you would be able to do at a basic level, okay? So in the very beginning, for example, when you start doing a HIIT type of training, you are not going to be able to start with like burpees, okay? It's going to be very difficult for most people, because burpees would be considered on like a scale of difficulty, of HIIT level scale of difficulty, let's put it that way. Burpees would be very difficult, okay? So you would want to start with like something easy to just get your cardiovascular health going and slowly building up on that foundation of yours. So for example, like standing sprints, sit-ups, jumping jacks, like these type of exercises are considered easier and more basic, and they are great starting points. And when you start doing a HIIT exercise, depending on your current situation and how you feel comfortable, because the whole concept of HIIT is actually pushing yourself and pushing your heart rate to its absolute maximum. Basically, you're going as hard as you can during the training phase, and during your resting phase, you're just taking it easy, okay? So until you feel comfortable enough to go at it again, all right? So what I would recommend would be start with like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, see how you feel, and then rest. But also make sure that you're checking the time, because you are trying to improve. And if you don't know what your, for example, exercise performance was, or you don't know how long your rest was, you're not going to be able to improve properly. So go ahead, see, for example, 15 seconds of like, let's say, standing sprint, okay, like stationary sprint. So you do your sprint, 15 seconds, you go all out, and then you rest for like, I don't know, let's say 4 minutes, okay? And after 4 minutes, you feel that you are recovered enough that you can go at it again, then go at it again for 15 seconds, okay? So do it this way and consider each of them as sets, okay? And after a while, when you start improving, try to go, for example, from 15 seconds, go to 20 seconds. And for example, your rest from 4 minutes, go to 3 minutes, 50 seconds, 45 seconds, okay? So your rest should continues to get lower and lower while you're working. The activity side of the bar should be going up and up, all right? And that would be optimal HIIT training. And based on your recovery situation, your time, and so many other factors, of course, You can do it as many times as you want. It's not recommended to go actual overboard. Like, don't try to do it like 20, 30, 40 sets a day, because then you will actually be overtraining, and most people will not be able to do it that much. You don't have the time, like, and so on. So take it a little bit easy and slowly build on that. Okay. So for example, first week, let's say first day, you do 2 days with 2 sets a day. Okay. So the next week you can go ahead and, like, from 2 sets, get it up to 3 sets a day, okay? And then go to 4, 5, and build on that, all right? And this is how you properly do HIIT exercise.